long have you stayed with your cheating partner after you found out? I'm getting to the point I don't love her how I should be anymore. 10 years together, almost 11. She cheated on me with a bloke from the bar she worked at 2 years into our relationship. They had sex twice I knew about. We worked it out as best we could, and eventually it was pretty harmonious. We had one child, then another. They are 7 and 3 now. 2 years ago, I found out she was messaging some bloke at her new job, quite a lot. X is at the end of every message. When you know something's up, and you can spot these little things. She denies still to this day nothing happened, and they were just friends. Back and forth deleting him off social. Month goes by and he's back on or on a different platform, hiding things, lying to me about messaging him or whatever it was to do with him. This went on for over a year. I'm a wreck by the end of it. Paranoid mess, depressed, and became an insomniac. Eventually, I plucked the courage up and left her. Went out and rented a room and ended it there and then. I lasted one night. I got so drunk and hated myself all night, crying, wondering what I've done to deserve all the feelings I'm feeling. I came back home and reconciled as best we could. She said she was sorry and same old garbage. I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. You mean everything to me. I tried. I really tried to make things different. I found out a month later she was already sexting a new bloke the night I left. She said it's because I left her and she was lonely. Normal service resumes. Delete the blokes off social media. Pinky promise I won't do it again. This was a year ago to this day, nearly. Nothing since, and she has been very nice and trying, etc. All I can say is, I feel like a vessel, not a person. The only joy I have is my children. I don't love her the way I should. I love her in the sense that I would do anything to keep her safe and I wouldn't see her hurt. You know what I mean? She's the mother to my kids, after all. I know I need to leave her, but I'm such a coward to do so. Didn't have the greatest upbringing. My nearest family is miles and miles away. We live together along with our children and her mother and father. I feel trapped almost. Anything bad happens between us, I'm singled out. I know what I need to do and I've planned it, but I can't seem to just do it. I think it would hurt her leaving. I know it would hurt my kids. Has anyone else just suffered in silence so they didn't hurt anyone or their kids? Am I being selfish and not putting my kids first? Thanks for reading. Let's see what the community has to offer in the way of advice. Fushiman says, you're worried about hurting her, but think, if you were about to walk into the path of danger, the path of a car, say, and someone roughly pulled you out of the way, would that not be better? Your missus is on a slippery slope to treating people badly and allowing herself to be the worst version of herself. Even if this does hurt her, it'll be more beneficial for her in the long run. It's a hard, painful lesson in self-reflection. She needs to look at the worst parts of herself and learn how to deal with it. But few of us do that willingly. And if she's not careful, she's gonna hurt herself, her kids, and others in the future. I know because both my parents have acted like that. Both have used it as a weapon, and I was stuck with the fidelity fixation long before I got cheated on. In answer to your question, it's been just over 4 months for me and my wayward spouse. It's rough. Every day hurts. Do what you can to look after yourself, dude. I wish you all the best. Another thought from Nice Rat 123. Sorry, but this was hard to read. I mean, you're actively being a doormat so you don't rock the boat. And when she rocks the boat, you're there trying to keep it from flipping over. OP, you should get out of the house for like a week. Find some place that you can actually stay in and just be free for a minute. You guys aren't reconciling and you're doing all the work while she just disrespects you because you're trapped. I feel bad for your children seeing this dynamic and thinking it's normal or what they should emulate when they get old. Sorry, OP. It's just a crappy situation. I'm so sorry, OP. It's remarkable that you're able to still love her and not want to see her hurt, even though she seems to hurt you constantly. I don't think you're being selfish at all, OP. I think you're being quite selfless. Your kids deserve to have a father who is happy. I'm not sure they'd like to see their mother doing something like this to their father. We have to take care of ourselves, and putting our own happiness first in cases like this is the greatest act of self-love. Update. As the title suggests, I have had enough of being in my relationship with my wayward spouse, and I need out. To really speed up this blog, I will tell you the very basics and why I need the most advice I can get. 10 years plus together, 2 children, 7 and 3. She cheated on me before our first child, reconciled and had 2 children. 3 years ago, she went on a message spree with a bloke she undoubtedly fancied and lied through her teeth for over a year. Who knows if they did anything physically, but it hurt just as much. We broke up and I moved out just over a year ago. I lasted a night without her and I came back. Been very empty since, and she even tried it on with a completely new bloke the night I moved out. Found out a week after I came back. Anyway, I feel trapped and I hate the fact it will affect my children and how much I see them because those children are everything. It will break my heart to leave, but I think I need to for my own health and happiness. How would one go about breaking this bombshell or just going? I've been saving money on the side to move out into rented accommodation. This feels just like the hardest thing in the world to do, and I'm not going to lie, I'm scared crapless of the future, of change, and myself with my children. I guess I need some courage, and I have been very assertive in my life, but this has turned me into a depressed coward. Any advice is helpful. Thanks for reading. Catch you on the flip-flop. This bloke wants advice. Let's give it to him. D-Save says, I suggest DNA paternity tests for your children. Sin0289 says, walk, man. I'm a little over 4 years out. Stayed with a cheerleader for 6 years, and it messed me up. Have 2 kids with her also. Will hurt at first, but you get to the point of F it. Update. I finally left my wayward spouse after 4 years. I still love her, but I can't get over what she did, and I've done what felt impossible. I left her. I don't want to drone on with a long story. This is just getting it off my chest. My 32 male partner, 29 female, cheated on me over 4 years ago, and the saga lasted over a year and a half. Cheating and lies, making up, promises, going on holiday all together. We have 2 children. To only find out the second day she's messaging the bloke again. Anyway, after all the lies, the torture, getting stabbed after I tried leaving, and the 2 years of being on some ridiculous medication that changed me as a man, I'm now going through the messy breakup and have put my foot down. I'm not going back. Never will. I only care about her as the mother of my children, and I will sure no harm comes to her. I am in the middle of a messy breakup, but I smile because once she's over me and she gets in bed with the next man, I have a feeling it won't be long, I will finally begin to rebuild my life and be me again. Thanks for reading. Just venting. Let's see some reactions from the community for this one. No Simple 4379 says, just going through the exact same thing after 2 years trying to forgive her for your affair. There seems to be a similar narcissistic tinge to this woman. Stay strong. Kami Wu wants to add, reading things like this makes me realize there are still men who will not tolerate crap like that, and men who don't think that cheating is normal. After being cheated on and lied by who I thought was my forever partner. All I can say is I'm sorry you're going through that, and stay strong, my friend. You are doing the right thing for you. You deserve better, and better will come. A deleted user has one more comment. It's the right decision. The relationship is never quite the same. You never sleep the same. You never see them the same. You never erase the memories and intrusive thoughts. People can choose to lie to themselves. I want to tear my hair out when I look at the reconciliation sub and the amount of dissociation people will engage in just to stay with a cheater. But at the end of the day, you go from, they would never do this, to, this is a real possibility. It's happened before. And that's undeniable. Just the other day, we had a post here from a woman who admitted she had to leave the sub so that she can basically lie to herself and lull herself into a sense of safety. All for a cheater who will almost definitely continue, since to stay with a cheater means to both abandon self-respect and lose respect of others. I think this sub can be very really grounding, which doesn't match up and trying to lie to yourself about how things really are. Whenever I see posts like this, acting on the reality of the situation, it makes my heart so happy. I want every one of us here to be happy and in relationships we all deserve. Honest, truthful, loving. It's not possible to build that with someone who at any point thinks cheating is acceptable. Excellent move, OP. You really showed up for yourself here. I'm glad that you can find a safe place to talk about your situation. There are so many people out there experiencing the same hurt. You're not alone. You will get through this, and you'll come out on top. Your ex will always be the mother of your children. That will never change. You deserve only good things, OP. What do you think? Next up, a not-so-secret mistress seeks closure. Father passed away recently. We found out about his infidelity days later. Last Tuesday, the 31st, my father suddenly passed away. It was a heart attack, and by the time I got the call something was wrong, he was gone. Shortly after, the following Friday, we found out about a 10-year-long affair he was having. My mother caught him with this woman before. 2011-ish, she had found Facebook messages open on the computer. After a while, she threatened to speak to a lawyer and get a divorce, but my father was apologetic and promised he would stop. That was the last we heard of it, approximately 6 or 7 years ago. I didn't even know her name. He moved out mid-2020, saying he was going to live with his brother surrounding a turbulent household environment. We believed him at the time because his brother had just had an emergency which could have killed him. Even though he moved out, he would still come up and help around the house 3 to 4 times a week on average. At one point, he moved out, My mom asked him if there was someone else, and he said, "No, it's only ever been you." I was working with the extended family on his side to plan the services and make sure they had everything they needed to grieve properly. At one point, they wanted to add his mistress's name and family, her sons, daughters, grandsons, etc., to the obituary. When I said it was ridiculous to include a mistress's name and family in the obituary, was I wrong about that? My extended family told me to remove their names as well. They said that they'd rather have the obituary be about my father, and they feel names are unimportant. Afterwards, I found that the extended family copy-pasted the text of the obituary onto Facebook, removing my mother's name and adding back their names and the mistress's name and family. They also put at the bottom that their family and the mistress's family are planning a celebration of life for my father, unbeknownst to me. It is at this point that I become enraged and feel lied to, telling them that I am refusing to attend services, which I am paying for in full, and mention that I wish to speak of it no longer because I want services to be about the good part of my father and not me or this affair. I say that I cannot be at the funeral with this woman, with the entire town and extended family that referred to my father as her boyfriend supporting her. Even outside of my own feelings and how sick I'd be in that situation, I didn't want to ruin the situation for others who were grieving by refusing to acknowledge this person and her family. I also can imagine the ceremony would be immediately ruined if I reminded everyone that my father was married and this woman was a part of a 10-year-long affair. Maybe some people didn't even know this was going on. They were all calling him her boyfriend. My uncle then tells me how sheltered I am. Complete BS. Others in the extended family start reaching out and blaming me for why they have been distant all this time, implying that I need to grow up and everyone has flaws, completely defending this woman and my father's actions, saying that everyone has flaws. I end the conversation there and say that I'm going to refuse to respond to them until services are over, because I don't want things to devolve into a shouting match when we should be remembering the good parts of my dad. I really wanted to go and say goodbye to my dad, though now it is so complicated I don't even know for sure if I feel that way anymore. But it really feels like the extended family has taken over the ceremony and made it all about the mistress's grief. I feel like I need to stand up for my mom and my family. I don't know what's right or wrong anymore. Am I wrong to have withdrawn from services over this? Should I have just done what they asked and included her in the obituary, etc.? There's much stronger language that I want to use with my extended family, but I feel like it wasn't the same. A part of me wanted to cancel services entirely. He was cremated. I feel so manipulated and betrayed right now. I have been Googling "is cheating wrong" lately. It's how I found this subreddit. Oh dear. I don't think you were wrong at all, OP. I think it was a bit outlandish for them to include the mistress in all of this, especially since she was the other woman, and you were paying for the service. They have no right to make those types of decisions. And I don't believe the mistress has any right to be making requests for public displays of grief. I also think the drama of this is totally taking away from the fact that your father passed away. It's definitely not allowing you to grieve the loss of your father properly. You are right to feel how you feel. Update 2/12. Thank you all for the support. I woke up today not feeling crazy for the first time since the confrontation about the obituary with my extended family. My immediate family, mother included, ended up not going to the services, which concluded an hour ago. I'm still intending on paying for it, but perhaps if I reached out here earlier, you all might have convinced me to cancel the entire thing. There are some really good points in the comments section, though I still felt it was important to provide a space for those who weren't involved in this affair to grieve. My immediate family is still trying to piece together what was real and what wasn't. If we come to a conclusion and we find that there was still some good in my dad and he wasn't here purely for financial gain, we'll hold our own goodbye ceremony for my father with his ashes, even if that's a few years from now. I will also commit to blocking my extended family and removing them from our lives. I still have a bunch of questions like, why didn't he just divorce my mother many years ago, or even in 2020? My mom offered him the door many times and he rejected that. It'll be a while before I find an answer. I'm going to go rest for the first time since he died. If there are any charitable causes that I can contribute to for surviving infidelity, please let me know via DM or comments after this update. I'm reading everything. Even this small post was super helpful for me, and I'd love to help ensure that others going through something similar can also find relief. Thanks again for the support, advice, and sanity check. Let's get a couple quick comments from the community too. Typical Agency 8984 says, cancel the service. If she has an issue, she can pay for it. Sassy Sweet 95 says, girl, are you insane? You're literally paying for it. You're able to do whatever the F you want. Change the obituary and repost it. Cancel or just change the whole service date and don't even invite them. The OP replies, we were able to submit the version we wanted for the obituary, thankfully. It's just that the local community also got a version for my extended family when they reposted it on their Facebook pages with my mother's name removed and the mistress's added, and my extended family also added back their own names. I did consider canceling the entire service after they lied about why they removed their names from the obituary. Clearly, it was not about making the obituary about my father, since they added their names back on their Facebook post. It was about wanting to have the mistress's name on it and my mother's name removed. I felt completely unsupported and betrayed by them and hurt for my mother. The reason I didn't pull the entire service was because financially, I'm doing okay right now, and I felt it was important for others who weren't involved with the lies surrounding this affair to have a place to say their goodbyes. They aren't all bad people, though right now it's really hard to tell friend from foe, since this talk around town was that he was the mistress's boyfriend. The community he died in is super close-knit and was his hometown. The funeral director himself knows the mistress and her family, as well as my extended family and my father. Let's get one comment from the community. Rage, Sadness, All in One wanted to say, a 10+ year affair when you don't divorce your wife, you just move in with your mistress and don't tell your wife and kids, is not a flaw. And I would be super duper clear about that with any supporters of the affair. It does seem odd for them to remove your mother's name from the obituary. Not only odd, it is just a slap in the face. It's going to take some time to process. Not only are you processing your father's death, but you're processing the man you thought he was. His death revealed a whole heck of a lot. Take your time. I'm sorry that you had to find out this way and that it went down the way that it did. Have you ever uncovered his family secret? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. If you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there.